DSL, we've gotta be able to
Yeah.
have that high-speed, connection, run our, connect to the servers and run our systems for their offices.
Let alone on the banking
Yeah,
that goes through the treasurer's office.
and so if we can find that space, right now, we need to rent it now, if we're not gonna do the community services building, because we gotta have it for these two offices. And again, for another probably 5-year period, then we're gonna be even more dispersed than we currently already are. And then next one there, then the next one too. So we've only found one location has been identified as a possible place to co-locate those at this point. And then the next slide. And so what happens if a community service building is built? The commission can make a decision consistent with the prior public discussion and either lease or sell the admin building. And then the next thing is, if we put those services centrally downtown, it's the best solution to serve our citizens. It allows for growth in the county, because you never know what next year, next 5 years are gonna bring. If we don't plan for any ability to grow in any of our offices or adding different offices, what do we do when we have to at that point? We don't have any choices. Doing this will allow some flexibility. And then the admin building is not centrally located, or it doesn't allow for any kind of a growth. That's it, we're right there, okay? Then our last thing is just, and then we can make this, a central county complex, and that can be a focal point that welcomes that industry and the tourism into the community. We're a one-stop shop. We're constantly, this happens almost daily. Well, somebody comes in to my office and they need some information. Well, they end up having to go to the recorder's office. Well, to find that, and then they want to come pay their bill. Well, I have to send them to the treasurer's office. Then they have some other questions that we need to research. We're sending them back and forth, and this is daily, for years now. And it's just we're not serving the public by doing that, so.
And then I just want to bring up on having it centrally located for social services. I'm always looking to the future. I'm always looking to bring more stuff to the community that we need. So one of the things we want to look at is we do not have hardly any veteran services here in the community. We want to expand now with the staff we have. I'm getting somebody with a master's to where we can bring in the veteran services that used to be in the community. But where we're located, I don't have expansion room. So for me to bring in more services to this community that we need, we have an aging community. I'm working on trying to get transportation out of town in the next 4 years. Centrally locating us closer to the seniors to where everything is going to allow for me to bring more to the community. I have grants, I have plans. I'm trying to look forward to bring as much to our citizens as possible, but I need this space to do it.
When this was the vision back when we knocked down the old annex, was to continue to move forward in this direction. And that's what we told the public. So being in the where the admin building is now was supposed to be temporary until this was built, so that we did have everything centrally located. And this is back on the agenda. That's something I think is the right thing to do. I think cost-wise, financially, that this is an important move to move forward with. And I say that both as a resident and knowing what the finances are for the county. I think it's fiscally responsible to do it this way. And that's why it keeps coming back.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I fully agree with what you were saying, Commissioner Carson, and I just wanted to add, you don't see juvenile probation here. They can't really be here because they, work for Judge Dobreski and Judge Fairman, but I feel comfortable saying that their current office design is not an ideal setup for what they need, and this is going to, would allow for a much more efficient
A
and
safer
safer,
environment for all of us.
confidential
And
for
confidential.
them.
It
Because
is.
I know that that's,
It
was
is
an
a huge
issue
problem.
when they first moved in.
It is. You know, both public health and I have exterior doors that if we have a client that will not come through the building or we cannot have come through the building, we can still see them. Juvenile probation does not have that.
Yeah.
And for a safety reason, they have a door that connects to us. And I can't tell you how many times we have had to go into juvenile probation and help as well because our offices in the back deal with a different type of clientele. So that type of safety would be great. As well, I would like you guys to know with moving Ely Bus in off the highway, our new buses that we just got, they're gonna last longer because we're not putting all the mileage on in and out of town all the time that we're having to do. So please, just keep in mind, there is cost savings with this.
I also think on temporarily moving the treasurer and the recorder, if we put them into another building, we talked about the renovation cost. The other cost that I don't think we really have discussed is we're leasing that building, we're going to make some custom renovations. Those contracts are probably going to include de-renovating those buildings on their way out. And so we're gonna have a second expense of taking out any special renovations we've made and returning those buildings to what the original structure was intended to be.
Yeah, and on that, with us moving, Martha and I have looked down at the admin building, we've discussed it a lot, and I just say I support this plan. I'm with Laurie. I think it's kind of what we said we were gonna do in public originally, is we were gonna not abandon downtown, we were gonna centralize our services. I also feel like we'll have something to show for the money we spend instead of having to renovate a building that we're just gonna have to de-renovate. And having our offices be in this temporary situation, located with the assessor and with finance for a temporary couple of years is huge. I mean, this separation has been very, very difficult. It's caused problems. I went through 3 months of line of sight problems with internet. You know, you're gonna have to consider all that again, and it was awful for my office, you know. And so I know that I would much rather be located in a county facility than have a temporary location for 2 years. I think that to serve our citizens, that is absolutely, this is the best option, and I agree, it's a really good use of these funds that we have to provide services to our community. I'm in full support of this option. So, we have to move twice no matter what,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but.
And I agree with Catherine and Lori, and I'm going with the 4th of July parade theme, like it was, you know, just move everything back where it was, be, kind of centrally located, be downtown Ely. And we work better that way. We're closer, and it's like Burton said as well, we're constantly having to send people down, and do you know where the railroad depot is, to explain where their office is located. And at one time, we were all together in the courthouse, the assessor, the clerk, finance, we were, and you guys were just across the street. And it really did work out well. And like Catherine said, we're gonna have to move no matter what. But, if you could build the new building and, get these guys placed in that building, and then we take their place down at the admin building for a couple of years, and then everybody just moves back to the county courthouse, and then these guys will be in place, the senior center's right there. They'll be next to public health for blood pressure checks, vaccines, I think it's a good thing, and we have the money right now. I've worked for the county for years, and we never had any money, I think it's great for the future, I really do.
So
Presentations, I'll watch what the lines are.
oh, absolutely.
We have a long meeting here, and we just make it longer. The idea has been brought up several times. When you brought up the $5 million, hey, I was gonna shoot that down. Now you've shown almost $4 million, or $3 million. in money that's available, that makes a huge difference. The property that you wanna put it on is owned by the county. All the reasons for or against, we all know what all those are. We don't need to go into major detail about all that. We've heard a discussion from everybody here. Centralizing and keeping our word in the community is important to everybody here by bringing it down the road, but we're still looking at 2 or 3 years down the road. It's gonna take you 18 to 24 months to get this built by the time you get it all done. The location, all your reasons are perfect, okay? I think everybody on this commission, unless I hear something different, is kind of on board. The money, the fact that you found money, I don't know if you found it or you convinced me that there's money out there. Anytime, just like the library expansion, we didn't wanna do that several years ago, but when somebody come up with $750,000, you gotta do it. So, the reasons for doing it are all valid. We can address the sale or resell or keeping the old building or the temporary building. Look, we put a lot of money, we got a state-of-the-art building out there right now that we're utilizing. And for us to just kind of give that away, to rebuild the same thing's gonna cost you, what are we at, $5 million? 10 million. So I think your presentation is in line with what this commission wants to move forward as we move to the future. So, the 2 offices, the recorder and the treasurer. So let's go ahead and I think all the discussions, I'm just trying to move the meeting along if you don't mind.
Richard, can I jump in 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the arguments and, for it and completely do, but, I can't bring myself to do another building. I guess it just comes from me having the small government, mentality that I do, but, I just can't bring myself to, do another building, and I know how the constituents I'm closest with would feel about that, so, I'll be a no, but, if the commission goes the other way, I will, have no issues with that, but that's just where I'm at, and appreciate everyone's input on it.
I wanted to clarify this agenda item. We're not approving the project, we're approving to move forward with the concept, trying to understand the verbiage here.
So, I guess I would defer to James on this. So the idea is if you,
Concept design,
it would be to approve that, yes, this is what we're going to do, not, and you still have a lot of details to finish and working out, and correct me if I'm
Well, there would be
misrepresenting.
a lot of detail, so this is, do you want us to move forward with this? Because there's a lot of time and effort that would need to be put in, if not, that's fine, let us know, if so, we will start the process of moving forward into the planning phase for this facility.
When it comes to small government, as Commissioner Travis said, we have those small government people were the ones that are helping run this county business collaborated on bringing this forward. So that tells you, it says a lot, and this is going to be returned to the public, the funding for this, because they pay for it. So that's part of why I feel strong about this also.
I'm not concerned about it, I feel like we're all real sold on the details and the positives of it, we all agree this is a more efficient way to do things. Don't have any issues with that. My only question, Elizabeth, help me remember, this doesn't in any way jeopardize our ability to do what needs to be done over here, correct?
No.
Yeah, as long as we have the money, we can find the money, tie it up, it's gonna make things run more efficiently. There's literally no point in discussing any further as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sorry, may I just clarify what I just said? So when we use the money that's in capital improvements to do this facility, you will have to rebuild those funds, because those funds are also being used it's capital improvement funds that will renovate the courthouse. However, you cannot begin renovation on the courthouse until you move your 2 offices out of there.
Gotta be done.
And just to clarify, if the commission approved this agenda item, it would not be committing that $5 million. This is just going forward with the planning and the future that would come.
That's all I wanted to clarify.
And if the commission decided against it, I would highly recommend that you move forward quickly to work on office space for these 2 offices.
When we talked about the renovation of the courthouse, It was to bring these services and keep them downtown. And right off the cuff, I was against the idea of another building. But it seems to me that for the long run, for the next 40 years, that having a facility that houses these properly is a good thing. And I think it actually, in the long run, doubles down on that promise of keeping these services in downtown Ely and offering a better level of service and a better facility for all of the county residents. So it may take us a little longer to get there and get the courthouse renovated, but I think in the long run, this fulfills the promise even better.
I agree, and just as treasurer, I would no way be endorsing this if we weren't in the financial situation that we're in. You know, with the rescue plan money and net proceeds coming in like $1 million higher than predicted and some things like that going on, this is the time to use that money to make some services for the future when we can afford to get things in good functional things because of something financial. So financially, you know, I think now is the time.
And for the long term, newer buildings maintained cheaper.
I'm sorry, man,
I love you guys, I've been in sales for 25 years, there's such a thing as talking your way out of a sale.
You're ready, you're ready.
Enough,
Yeah.
enough, we got.
So,
Yeah, we're gonna make a
motion
motion.
to approve.
And I will second that.
Motion by Ian and a second by Lori. Any further, this is to move forward,
Yeah.
not to endorse, to move forward with the community services building. Motion by Ian, second by Lori. Any further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay?
Okay, Travis is, a nay, so Ian, Richard, Lori, Shane, yes, Travis, no. Move forward.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your hard work
We have
with
got-
making it clear.
we have-
Appreciate you taking us through.
So now we're gonna go back, and I'm sorry that we kind of delayed the Snipper part of this, but we had to get these employees back for some other duties. Page 4, item F, 10 o'clock, it's the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, Snipper around 19. Item 1, this is a public hearing, discussion for possible action, the evaluation and final ranking of the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, SNPLMA, round 19, project priorities. Following the public input at the public hearing, the Board of County Commissioners will determine the final ranking of the projects and the top 3 projects to go forward with applications in round 19. Elizabeth.
Thank you. Okay, so we did do some major outreach this time between Tabitha and I to try and get some input for round 19 projects. We anticipate that round is going to be opening up in September, so we need to start selecting which projects we want to fully develop and get that done. So what we've asked people to do is submit their ideas, fill out questionnaires, and then we are gonna bring those forward today. We'll go ahead and we've asked them to limit their presentation on each project so you can get a full concept of what each project is about to no more than 5 minutes, correct, Tabitha?
I know that one has a video that was pre-recorded that's over the 5 minutes, but it's like 7 minutes and something.
So we're gonna ask them to stick to 5 minutes. We might make an exception for a video. And we'll go through them all, and then at the end, it's a public hearing, so we'll ask for a public comment on any of those projects after we get through them all. And then we'll go ahead and ask the county commission to prioritize the top 3 projects to go forward into round 19 application. I'd like to make one caveat on that, and that is that we have round 18 currently up for approval. We haven't gotten final approval. One of the top priorities for the county commission was the fairgrounds. If the fairgrounds does not get approved for whatever reason at the Department of Interior, we don't anticipate that would happen, that we bring that back into the mix as the number 1 for the next round. But anyways, that would be one thing to consider. We didn't put it here because it's up for funding this time, but if for some reason they don't fund it, we'd like to bring that project back. So we'll go through the projects in the order that they are on your agenda. So we'll start with the Marriage Field upgrades. And who do we have here to present on that? I believe Tabitha?
If you guys don't mind, I'll go to the microphone and just play the slides for me.
Oh, do you want me to play the slides for you?
Okay, sure. Okay, so I apologize because I'm still working on my public speaking skills, so if I stumble over my words, I'm sorry. I'm presenting the Marriage Fields Upgrades SNPLMA Round 19 proposal. Next slide. A summary of this proposal is that they want to upgrade and improve the current Marriage Fields facility through Round 19 SNPLMA to improve safety, recreational opportunity, easy access, maintenance, connectivity, and more. We estimate that this project will be $6 to $8 million, but this is a very rough estimate, and we believe that we will need an engineer to come in and do preliminary cost estimates before this is applied for, if you guys choose this project. Shown is a map of just a sketch of what is being proposed. We've got infield, outfield improvements, parking. We have, in addition, a batting cage area and parking. Next slide. We have infield improvements, new infield sand / clay, new bases, some double bases, new infield fencing, and dugout improvements. Next slide. Outfield improvements include an 80-pound sprinkler system, new outfield turf. What's been proposed by the Public Works Director is to periodically disperse soil over the grass to even out the fields and get rid of any potholes or anything in there, and then have the grass grow back through it evenly. Higher outfield fencing / backboard or net to catch home runs so that they don't go down into the fairgrounds. New scoreboards or scoreboard locations. Create a legitimate ball field for for ball field number 3. As you can see in the picture, it's a lot bigger than the others, and a lot of people don't use it because it's just not the right size, and there's a light pole in the middle of it. Breakaway fencing to change the size of the fields, and then also for a safety thing. Next slide. Seating and crow's nest improvements. We have catch nets for over the bleachers, and then where catch nets are not feasible, we would have shaded bleachers to provide some sort of protection. We want upgraded sound / speaker system, upgraded announcer stand and concession with the possible addition of a bar area. Renovation and upgrade of the restrooms with the addition of a new septic system. Next slide. We have a batting cage area. This would be a pay-to-use system with automatic pitching machines. So as you can see in the pictures, there's a downhill slope, and the balls would just be recycled and thrown back to you. With this, you would have a parking lot and a storage shed to store equipment in the winter. Again, this would be pay-to-use, so it would help maintain itself. Next slide. Parking and playground. We are looking for new play surface to replace grass. New equipment, because as you can see, the equipment is very outdated. New asphalt in the parking, and then also closing the access from the playground to the parking, because kids tend to play tag and run around in the parking lot, and it's a big safety thing, so we would want a fenced-in sidewalk from the crow's nest to the playground. It would be ADA access so that there's no access to the parking lot from the playground. It helps kids stay away from the highway and out of the parking lot. Next slide. More upgrades include new fencing wherever needed, possible trail from the Valley View mobile home park turnoff to the fairgrounds, which would allow connectivity of the 3 facilities. There's a trail there, but we're hoping to improve it and maybe pave it. Overall upgrades to the drainage system, LED lighting that's dark sky compliant and paid to use for the fields. It would be motion censored by the batting cage area to deter vandals, and then it would be solar in the parking lot and in the playground area. We would have SNPLMA signage and a large facility sign that shows all the offered amenities, security cameras to also deter vandals, and then any other ideas that are suggested and feasible. Next slide. Here's a list of all the things that we've pretty much went through already, but basically the benefits are safety, ease of access. It allows for better gameplay throughout the facility. We're cutting down on maintenance, taking out the amenities that have exceeded their useful life and replacing them so that maintenance is lowered for at least the next few years. Next slide. So why this project? White Pine County SEDS document mentions goals of adding parks to beautify the area and continuing to develop current facilities. This project does both of those things. It's low maintenance and sustainable. It's a current facility that we're already maintaining, so the maintenance isn't gonna go up because of a new facility that we're adding. We've got the pay to use batting cage that helps pay for the added amenities. It includes, it will improve the quality of life to the public and encourage interaction with nature. It has beautiful, amazing views. The location is amazing because it encompasses many things and not only communities, but a wide range of recreational opportunities in the area. It connects intercity and branch life, all in a 1 mile radius. Next slide.
Gail and Charlie. So, thank you for the opportunity. This project actually had genesis in our round 18 application. When we put in our round 18 application, we did include this, and SNPLA asked us to take it out, and they suggested we apply in round 19, and so hence I'm here. This round 19 application will basically increase our visitor awareness and appreciation for Great Basin's dark skies. And what we want to do here is improve the track on the High Line. The High Line branch is the one that goes up close to the mountains that we run out towards McGill. We want to relocate the Curry Depot from its current location in Curry to what we call Star Flats. And I'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. We also want to restore the depot there and repurpose it as living quarters for a star interpreter. We're getting more and more requests for night skies programming, and I can run trains, but I can point to the moon, but that's about it. So having someone to do star interpretation for us would be great. The other thing is we want to put a modern restroom facility up there too. The trains now, when they go up there, we're there somewhere between 2 hours or 3 hours. And this would expand our existing star platform. The combination of tour and recreation grants has allowed us to build a concrete pad out there for stargazing, and it's working out very, very well. This will increase our stargazing programs, and we work with the Dark Rangers of Great Basin National Park. And this program actually introduced us to the Dark Skies program. And the railroad's astrotourism trains are really successful, and the reason being is 80% of the people in the United States can no longer see their night skies because of light pollution. And because they can't see their local night skies, they make the trip to White Pine County to see the stars. And for many people, this is the very first time they've actually got to see the heavens. And what we find is a lot of families are coming because the parents remember the dark skies, but they can't show that to their children. And so what they do is they come ride the Star Train to show their kids the dark skies. Our astrotourism trains are extremely popular. The Star Trains sell out a year in advance. All the tickets for the Star Train for 2021 sold out in August of 2020. 2020 trains sold out in April of 2019. So what we're trying to do is create additional capacity here. And when we did the Star Trains, there were, we used the rangers from Great Basin National Park, and it was like, how can we expand this program without the rangers? So what we've done is we've developed the Sunset Stars and Champagne trains, which are on Thursday night and Saturday night. And those were brand new last year, and they sold out in 2020. And this year we added a second one, so on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, we literally have AstroTourism trains that have been very successful. The first Star train was back in 2014, and it carried 127 passengers. Now, in 2021, we're going to operate 47 AstroTourism trains from mid-May through mid-September that will carry approximately 2,700 people. And because the Star trains run at night, we're going to generate about 1,300 room nights, because the trains don't get back in until about 10:30 or so, and so they have to spend the night here. We estimate that the economic impact is about $750,000 conservatively of people spending, getting their rooms, buying meals, and the whole bit. The other thing is too, the AstroTourism trains have been incredibly popular with the media. It started with CBS News. Twice we've been featured there. We've also, and this was really interesting, CBS News called me up, and this was last August of 2019, and said, hey, we'd like to come to Ely and interview you about our Star trains, your Star trains. I said, great. And they wanted to do it on August 2nd. I said, great. 2 days later, Channel 3 from Las Vegas called me up and said, hey, we want to interview you about your Star trains, and we want to do that on August 2nd. And I said, I already got CBS coming, and they said, that's okay. So I called CBS and I said, do you mind if NBC comes? And they go, no, that's okay. So in a Friday afternoon in Ely, Nevada, I'm interviewed by CBS News and then NBC News, one right after another. And both those stories went out. In fact, both of those stories you can still access on the internet, which we do. We have them linked to our page. We've also been featured in the LA Times, Travel and Leisure, and we also have international exposure. Condé Nast Traveler in Spain has a story on the Star trains, all in Spanish, of course. So it's incredibly powerful. The development of the AstroTourism program supports the other AstroTourism initiatives in White Pine County, such as Park to Park in the Dark, and that is a program going from Death Valley National Park to Great Basin National Park, and eventually US 6 will be designated a dark highway. The State of Nevada Commission on Tourism has dark skies programs. In fact, they passed a law earlier promoting that in the last session. Friends of Nevada Wilderness and Great Basin National Park, of course, is known for their dark sky program. The other thing is too, moving the Curry Depot to Star Flats. Right now, the Curry Depot, last train it saw was 1999. And as hard as I've tried over the past 19 years to get that track open, it's still not open. And I don't think it's going to open in the near future. The building is being vandalized and it's eventually falling apart. Being able to pick that up and move that and put it at Star Flats does three things for us. It saves the historic Nevada Railroad structure. It gives us a depot out on Star Flats, and again, our plan is to create that as a residence for an AstroTourism. We have been experiencing vandalism out at Star Flats. We have a sign that says foot traffic only, and you can't read part of it because of the bullet holes. And of course, the concrete pads there, people got their four-wheelers out there and they're just doing donuts. And, when we did the round 18 grant, we estimated the cost of doing this at $9 million, and we believe that will be approximately the same too. And one final note, on June of this year, we had the largest June we ever had. We carried 2,565 passengers. Not only was it the largest June we've ever had, it was the largest summer month we've ever had. And the only month that was bigger was December for the Christmas trains. And right now, And that's a 76% increase over the 2019 trains. And right now, July is tracking to be bigger than June. So I would like to say we're an overnight success. It only took us 35 years to get here. So I encourage you to forward this program to SNPLA. It would assist the railroad. It would also bring in a new revenue stream for the railroad and would also help bring additional tourism here to White Pine County, taking advantage of our dark skies.
Where exactly is Star Flats?
It is out on the High Line. I do,
There's a little map.
yeah, I do have a little map in there.
I'm trying to figure out the proximity to Star Flats to what we have as far as the pump storage facility coming in that possibly could come in. Is there going to be a conflict?
There possibly could be a conflict. We've been having discussion with the pump storage people, and they're working to mitigate any effects.
They're working to mitigate it.
Correct.
Your trail, your High Line is pretty much established.
Correct.
So where the Star Flats is
On the High Line.
right.
Yeah. And actually, it is south of the proposed project. The proposed pump.
I don't know if I'm getting my point across here as far as the conflict between the two. I like both projects.
Sure.
But I do not want one to overstep its boundaries and stop the other.
Right, exactly.
And I'm definitely in favor of the pump storage facility. I can
Right.
make that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
And anything that the railroad can do, you know, we're using Night Skies at Great Basin National Park, the train. And one last comment or question, have you pulled your application for any funding off of 18? Or is this, I know you pulled this off of your 18 application.
Correct.
19. Have you taken anything, you're still on the agenda for 18?
We are still on the agenda for 18. The funding for 18 opens up the track to McGill.
And how many other SNPLA projects has the railroad been funded?
We've been funded for 2.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And I think that the SNPLMA program actually promotes having succession in regards to their projects.
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so EBRS had 2 previous, the third one will be decided in September, that is, and the reason he had to take this off of the Route 18 application is if it would have been denied if he'd insisted on leaving it in because of the way that SNPLMA laws are written. So he took that off because it only can be one point to another point, which was the Star Flats would have added a third point, which was not a consecutive point on the trail being proposed. So we did reduce that. I believe your funding for round 18 is 11.5 million or
Correct.
somewhere in that area. And so then for round 19, he's asking to put this additional project. Yeah. Any other questions from the county commission on this project?
Travis, you're on. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so then, this is a public hearing, so
Thank
if it's okay, I will, thank you, Mark, I will go ahead and open it up for a public comment on any of the projects that we've presented. Anything on the, okay, so that being the case, then, the idea is that following, the presentations and any public input, that the county commission would go ahead and rank these projects.
George has a question back there.
Oh, I didn't see you, George. You have to talk up.
You're not the first one that doesn't see me. That's all right.
Sorry, I was facing that way.
I understand that. Thank you. I'm concerned that we keep putting all our eggs in one basket. You've had some good smaller proposals here, and I'd like to see that addressed, bike trails, so on and so forth. I'm concerned in regards to the Broadbent, excuse me, Broadbent Park expansion. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is the particular scenario that they picked out eliminates the grandstand. That grandstand is $250,000 to $500,000, or I don't know. I'm just guessing. That's an asset. Making it ADA accessible is easy, simple ramp, whether you wanna do it on the lower end or on the upper end. Do not eliminate that asset. If you do, in my opinion as a taxpayer, you guys are squandering our money and it needs to stop. Broadbent Park started going downhill when I was in office because the city council would not concede to allow the school district to operate there without increasing the rent, which wasn't much in my opinion, but they kept jacking it up, and now that's why it's not being used. First, the ballpark is taken out, then the football field, then the traffic downtown. No, I don't want that to happen again. I wanna see that park renovated, but not without that grandstand being there. How can you do an event without proper seating? Sitting on wet grass? We have that out at the county. You may have been there at one time rather for the horse races. That's not gonna cut it. I'm concerned about the railroad. Again, I wanna remind you that the Northern Railroad does not have a rosy reputation. They do good. However, I wanna remind you, Mr. Bybee said as chairman, 15 years, didn't collect a dime in rental from S&S Shortline. Where's the money? The foundation does not operate under Nevada open meeting law, even though they receive hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax monies. How's it spent?
George, these are off agenda here. We're
No,
talking
no,
about.
I'm talking about
but
the
when you're talking-
value of a project.
Yeah,
And
that's
if we
fine, the
don't know how
project,
the money
wait.
is being spent,
How the project goes is all we're trying to discuss here. Way they operate their meetings is not part of this stipulated
oh,
project.
but it does. As a
It does not.
taxpayer, I want accountability, Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
sorry, but we're not gonna keep bringing that up.
Well,
So, speak
I-
to me about the project and why you like it or why you don't. Not about how somebody operates a meeting.
I didn't say anything about a meeting. I said accountability for the taxpayers' money.
For clarification, the money that comes through these grants is fully managed and handled by the county and always available for public inspection. It does not run through the foundation, or in the case of the city, it does not run through the city. These are county funds, and they are available in my office anytime you'd like to see
Oh,
them.
man, when I go to these different meetings, including the Tour and Rec Board, I'm asking questions and I can show you where I have it. I'm still waiting.
But that's not
However-
SNPLMA.
however-
That's where we're at right now,
That
sir.
doesn't matter.
Thank you.
It's all taxpayers' money. There are other projects, other than the railroad, that need attention. Smaller projects, it would enhance our different draw. Different people will have different interests, then they can run the railroad or ride the railroad. You keep focusing only on the railroad, there's nothing else to do. And you have to expand your revenue base. And the only way you're gonna do that is to offer different amenities. I did not see on there the expansion of or the proposal for a all events center down at the fairgrounds.
That was submitted in the last round.
It was submitted?
Yes,
I thought it was dropped.
no.
Okay. That being said, I'm glad that's taking place, but we need to address other avenues of attraction here in the community. Thank you.
Okay, we've heard from everybody, right?
If I could, on just public comment, just really briefly, I mentioned it earlier, but I forgot to mention it there. We got 400 letters of support for this program, and some of those letters are for.
Mark, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. You had your presentation, this is not public comment, this is
Okay.
public, you're a presenter.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm really more interested in what the commission has listened to before we go into the next round, which would be selection. This meeting has gone on, I really wish we would have had SNPLMA as a separate meeting, so we could have just done this with just one, but we didn't. So we're approaching the noon hour and we've got 10 o'clock items we haven't even touched yet. But all these presentations on the SNPLMA were very good and very accurate, and I think the commission has gotten a good idea of what we can select as our top 3 priorities. And to try to expedite the meeting or maybe split the meeting, whatever we're going to have to do, I think we should finish up SNPLMA and then decide what we wanna do as far as the rest of the agenda goes. Am I okay here?
Yes.
Are you guys all right with this?
I was just gonna offer, I'm good with, plowing through. I also would be okay with tabling our action on this if we're able to, if anybody needs time to process all the stuff we just had thrown, but I'm fine moving forward to it, that was just an option.
I think,
Specifically prioritizing the stuff and stuff.
yeah, I think I've gotten over the phone calls and over the period of time as to where we're at, plus with the round of 18, we're looking at 19. I think if we can finish up this SNPLMA thing, try to prioritize them, and then maybe leave the door open for additional discussion on the final three, how we categorized them. But unless the commission has a problem, we've listed every one, and I'd go round table, I'll start from one to the other, and see how you felt about what your top three are, put them down on paper, and then